Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, we're gonna create this bottom navigation menu with interesting scroll behaviors using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now let's see how the bottom navigation menu works. First, here you can see when I hover each menu item, a tooltip appears with the menu item name, so you can easily identify each menu item. I have simply created this web page including a few sections with a section title to represent each menu item. Now let's scroll down the page. Here you can see all the sections with their section titles. And here you can see when scrolling, the bottom navigation menu items indicate the current section that we are on right now. Let's scroll back to the top. Now let's see other scroll behaviors of this navigation menu. Here you can see when I scroll down, the menu hide button appears at the top right corner of the bottom navigation menu, and it hides again when I scroll back to the top. Here you can see when I click the menu hide button, the bottom navigation menu hides, and the menu show button appears with a cool wiggle animation. And when I click the menu show button, the menu show button goes down and the bottom navigation menu appears again. So, using these two buttons, we can toggle the visibility of the bottom navigation menu. Let me show you another interesting scroll behavior. Here when I scroll down and stop scrolling at any position of the web page, the bottom navigation menu goes down automatically and the menu show button appears on a timeout function I have created using JavaScript. And again, when I start to scroll up or down, the menu show button goes down automatically and the bottom navigation menu appears back. This will happen every time the page scrolls. And also, you can navigate through sections by clicking menu items, so you can easily navigate to any section on the page without scrolling. Now let's see the responsiveness of the bottom navigation menu for different screen sizes and devices. Here you can see, when I adjust the screen width, the bottom navigation menu adjusts itself and fits with the screen size. And, with different screen sizes and devices, all the other functions work as the same. Next, I will show you an example of how the bottom navigation menu appears on a portfolio website. Here, this is my newly created portfolio website tutorial using this bottom navigation menu. Personally, I love this portfolio design. You can watch this portfolio website tutorial on my channel. Also, you can get all these project source codes from the Coding Snow by Me Coffee page and Patreon page. And you can become a member of my Patreon page to get all project source codes for free. You can see all these links in the video description. Now let's see the file setup of this project. Here you can see the index.html file for the HTML part, main.js file for the JavaScript part, styles.css file for the CSS part. Now let's start to code the project. Here I have already opened the project index.html file, and its live preview is displayed on the right side of the window, allowing you to see the visual changes of the project in real time. In the HTML file, I have already included the basic tags and comments to start the project HTML code. First, I'm gonna start to code the bottom navigation menu HTML part. First, create a div tag with class name bottom menu container. Within that, another div tag with class name bottom menu. Within that, create another div tag with class name bottom menu inner. Now I need icons for the project. For the icons, I'm using Remix Icon. To access Remix Icons, I'm opening a new tab from the browser and visit Remix Icon website. To insert Remix Icons into the project, I need to link Remix Icon CSS to the HTML file. For that, I'm gonna link remix icon CSS from CD and JS libraries. I'm going to copy the CD and JS remix icon CSS link and link it between the head open and close tags in the index.html file. Then I'm going to get icons from the remix icon website. For that, I'm going to search for the icons I need. Select it. Copy it. And paste it. So you can see the icon appear on the page. Now let's continue with the remaining code. For the I tag, add a class name menu hide button. Then open UL tag with class name menu. Inside that, add a list tag with class name menu item. Inside list tag, add an anchor tag. Inside that anchor tag, add a span tag with menu item name. Then make copies of that whole list tag for each menu item. Then I'm gonna change each menu item name. Finally, I'm gonna add suitable icons for each menu item. So we have created the bottom navigation menu items. Now we need the menu show button. For that, I'm gonna create a div tag with class name menu show button. Inside that, create a div tag with class name bar1 and create another div tag with class name bar2 for the horizontal bars on menu show button. Now our bottom navigation menu HTML part is complete. Then we have to move on to the CSS part of it. For that, first I'm gonna link the style.css file to the index.html file. Then I'm gonna open the style.css file. Now I'm gonna import Google Fonts to the CSS file. Search for Google Fonts. The font family I'm gonna use is Poppins. To import the font family, I'm gonna copy the embed code and paste it into the CSS file. Now I'm gonna add base styles to the CSS file. First, I'm gonna add style for all elements using universal selector. Set margin to 0. Padding to 0. Box sizing to border box. Font family to Poppins serif. So you can see the preview like this. Now let's add CSS for the body tag. Min height to 100 viewport height. Background with hex color code. Now I'm gonna style the bottom navigation menu. First, I'm gonna add styles for the class name bottom menu container. Bottom menu container, position, relative. Next, I'm gonna style the class name bottom menu. Position, fixed. Left, 50%. Bottom to 50px. The bottom menu is now fixed and positioned at the bottom of the screen, but not correctly centered. To center it, I'm gonna add transform translate x to -50%. Now it perfectly centered. Now I want to remove these list styling points and anchor tag underlines from menu items. For that, first I'm going to select List Tag. And set List Style to None. Now you can see all the list points are gone. Now Anchor Tags. Text decoration to None. So you can see all the anchor tag underlines are gone. Let's go back to the bottom navigation menu CSS. Let's get the class name bottom menu inner. Position, relative. Next, style the class name menu. For the menu, background, HSL 217 hue, 32% saturation, 85% lightness and opacity, 0.8. Now you can see the bottom navigation menu with its background color. Now backdrop filter to blur 10px to give a glassy blur background to the bottom navigation menu. Display, flex. Justify content, center. Align items, center. Column gap to 25px. So you can see the bottom navigation menu items set into a row with the same gap for each menu item. Next, padding to 16px and 35px. Border bottom, 1px, solid, with HSL color code. Now you can see the bottom navigation menu bottom border. I'm going to decrease its opacity to 0.1. Then make another copy of it. And change its property to border left. So you can see the left and bottom border FO with minimum opacity. Then border radius, 50px. Now the bottom menu body is complete. Then I'm going to style the menu item anchor tag. First, display, flex. Flex direction, column. Justify content, center. Align items, center. Here you can see elements in the menu item anchor tag are aligned center and display into a column. Now, for the I tag inside the menu item anchor tag. Color with hex color code. Font size 1.4 rem. Background blue. For the icon background, I'm using blue color for now. Padding 10px. Border radius 50%. Here you can see the icons with their background. Now I'm gonna add the hover effects for the icon. Color with hex color code. For the hover transition, transition to 0.3 SEs. Here you can see the icon hover effect with a transition. Then, on hover, background with HSL color code. Here you can see the menu item icon hover effect. Now I'm gonna add a class name current to the menu item anchor tag. Then I'm gonna add styles iTag with the class name current. Background with HSL color code. Here you can see the current icon with background color. Now I'm selecting the span tag inside the menu item anchor tag. I'm using it as the tooltip for the menu item. Then I'm going to style it. Position, absolute. Transform, translate Y to -53px. Now you can see the span tag is outside from the bottom navigation menu. Color with hex color code. Background with HSL color code. Padding to 3px and 10px. Border radius 5px. Pointer events none. Here you can see each menu item tooltip text area like this. Now I'm gonna get the span tag again and use before to create a pseudo element to make an arrowhead to the tooltip. Content, double quotation. Position absolute. Background with HSL color code. Width 10px. Height 10px. For now, I'm using the background color red to span tag pseudo element for better visibility. Then, left 50%. Bottom -8px. Transform. Rotate 45 degrees and translate x -50%. Again, I'm changing the background color to HSL color code to match with the span tag. Here you can see we have created the menu item tooltip arrowheads. Now we have to add hover effects for tooltips. For that, for the span tag, opacity to 0. Now all the tooltips are invisible. Then, unhover the menu item. Opacity 1. So, You can see on hover each menu item tooltip appears. Now let's style the menu hide button. For that, I'm selecting the class name menu hide button. Position absolute. Background with HSL color code. Now you can see the menu hide button is behind from the bottom navigation menu. I need to bring it to the front. For that, I'm using Z-index to 999. Here now you can see the menu hide button is in front of the bottom navigation menu. Color with hex color code. Font size 1.52 rem. Padding 2px. Border radius 50%. Top -5px. Right 0. Cursor pointer. Our menu hide button is complete. Now let's add a hover effect for the menu hide button. Color with hex color code. Background with HSL color code. Let's add a transition for the element. Transition 0.3 SEs. You can see the hover effect with the transition. Now our bottom navigation menu styling is complete. Now let's start to style the menu show button. For that, I'm going to get the class name menu show button. Position fixed. Background with HSL color code. Backdrop filter blur 10px. Width 85px. Height 50px. Here you can see we have created the menu show button body. Now we have to center and place it at the bottom of the screen. For that, left 50%. Bottom 50px. Translate -50% 0. Here we placed it at the bottom of the page. For now, I'm going to hide the bottom navigation menu for better visibility of the menu show button. For the bottom menu, I'm going to add display none. Now you can see only the menu show button. Again, I'm going to style the menu show button. Border bottom 1px solid with HSL color code. Then make another copy of it and change its property to border left and border reduce 50px. Now we completed the body of the menu show button. Then let's style the menu show button bars. I'm selecting class name bar 01. Background with HSL color code. Width 40px. Height 5px. Here you can see the bar 1. For the second bar, I'm selecting the menu show button bar 02. Here you can see both bar 1 and bar 2. Now I have to place these bars on the center of the menu show button. For that, I'm going to add styles to the menu show button. Display, grid. Place content, center. Now bars are centered. Then, gap, 5px. Here you can see bars with a gap. Now let's add a hover effect for the menu show button. I'm selecting both bar 1 and bar 2. and on Hover Menu Show button. Background with HSL color code. Now you can see the hover effect. I'm going to add a transition for it. Transition 0.15 SEs. Here the hover effect with transition. Now I'm going to add a wiggle animation for the Menu Show button. For that, in the Menu Show button, Animation, Wiggle, 2 seconds, Linear, Infinite. Animation delay, 1 second. Then, at keyframes, the identifier is wiggle at 0% and 5%. Transform, rotate Z to 0 at 15%. Transform, rotate Z minus 15 degrees at 20%. Transform, rotate Z 10 degrees at 25%. Transform, rotate Z minus 10 degrees at 30%. Transform, rotate Z 6 degrees at 35%. Transform, rotate Z minus 4 degrees at 40% and 100%. Transform, rotate Z to 0. Here we created the wiggle animation for the Menu Show button. Now I'm going to set the Menu Show button bottom property to -75px. Now the Menu Show button is not visible on the screen. Now I'm going to comment the Display None property from the bottom menu. Here you can see the bottom navigation menu is visible now. Now I'm going to create the page sections for the project. Let's start with the page sections HTML part. First, section tag with class name page section. Then inside the section tag, H1 tag with class name section title. Inside the H1 tag, add home as the section title. Here you can see the section title home. Then I'm going to copy the whole section and make copies from it for each section I need. Then I'm going to add section titles for each section. Here you can see all the section titles on the page. Now I'm going to add styles to page sections. Selecting page section. Min height, 100 viewport height. Now you can see each page section with min height 100 viewport height. Then, display, flex, justify content, center, padding top, 125px. Here you can see the section title is justified to center with top padding. Now I'm selecting the class name section title. For the section title, color, with hex color code, font size, 3 rem, font weight, 600. Here's the section titles. Now our page sections are ready. Next, we'll need to make the bottom navigation menu to move through the page sections by clicking the navigation menu items. For that, first I'm going to add a unique ID for each section. I'm using section titles for the ID. We have now added IDs for all the sections. Then, for the href attributes in the menu items anchor tags, I'm gonna add section IDs with hashtag symbol. First the hashtag, then corresponding section ID. I'm gonna do it for each menu item. Here you can see, on clicking each menu item, it will scroll to the section that represents the menu item. Now for the smooth scrolling of the page, I'm gonna add for the HTML selector, scroll behavior to smooth. Here you can see, now it smoothly scrolls through the page sections. Now, let's make our bottom navigation menu responsive for smaller screens using CSS media queries. First, I'm gonna make the bottom navigation menu responsive for devices with a screen width of 768 pixels or less. For that, I'm using at media screen and max width to 768 px. First, I'm gonna close the live preview. Then, I'm going to open the index.html file directly from the browser. Now go to Inspect. Now I have the resizable view. Now, let's make changes. First, I need to adjust the bottom navigation menu by moving it slightly lower. For that, I'm going to select the class name bottom menu and change the bottom to 30 px. Then I'm going to copy it. Then paste it here and retain the modified properties and remove the others. Now I'm going to change the menu items icon font size. Font size to 1.3 rem. Then, copy it. Paste it. And remove the rest. Now, I'm going to make the menu responsive for devices with a screen width of 480 pixels or less. First, I'm going to adjust the device screen width to less than 480 px. Then, I'm going to select the class name bottom menu and add width to 100%. Here you can see the bottom menu with 100% width. Now, I'm going to add padding 0 and 20 px. Here you can see the bottom menu with padding from left and right. Now, I'm going to copy this and paste. Then remove the rest. Now, I'm going to select class name menu. Add width 100%. Change padding to 15 px and 20 px. Justify content to space between. copy it, and paste. Then remove the rest. Now, for the menu icons. Font size to 1.15 rem. Padding to 8px. Let's copy and paste it. Now I'm going to make changes to the menu item tooltips. I'm selecting the span tag. Then, font size to 0.85 rem. Padding to 2px and 10px the same. Then copy and paste. Now let's make changes to the menu hide button. Font size to 1.25 rem. Copy and paste. And remove the rest. Now, we have to make changes to the menu show button. For that, first I'm going to hide the bottom navigation menu. In the bottom menu selector, remove the comment on display none. Now the bottom navigation menu is removed from the page. Then, I'm going to get the menu show button up from the bottom. For that, in the menu show button selector, I'm changing the bottom to 50px. Now the menu show button is visible. Let's make changes to the menu show button. Width to 75px. Height to 45px. Gap, leave the same. Copy and paste. And remove the rest. Now for the menu show button bars. Width to 37px. Height to 4px. Copy and paste. And remove the rest. Now, I'm going to make the bottom navigation menu visible on the page. Let's go to Bottom Menu Selector. I'm going to comment Display None property back again. Now the bottom navigation menu is visible. Then, for the menu show button, bottom to -75px. Now menu show button is not visible. Let's resize the screen to see the bottom navigation menu responsiveness. Here, we can see an issue on the bottom navigation menu. The menu icons don't fit with the navigation menu body. Let's see what we can do for that. In the menu selector, column gap to 7px. Now it fits. I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Now our bottom navigation menu is responsive for smaller screens. Our project CSS part is complete for now. Now let's move to the JavaScript part. For that, first I have to link the main.js JavaScript file to the index.html file. I'm gonna link the main.js file using a script tag. Now I'm gonna open the main.js file. Let's start the JavaScript part for the bottom navigation menu. First, I'm gonna write JavaScript to activate the currently scrolled section menu items on page scroll. Window, add event listener. On scroll. Here, I'm gonna create a const. Scroll y equals to window, scroll y. Then another const. Page sections equals to document, query selector all. I'm going to get the class name page section and paste here, page section. Then page sections, for each page section. Create a let section top equals page section, offset top minus 50. We are using this section top variable to get the top position in pixels of each section relative to the parent element. Then create another let section height equals page section, offset height. We are using this section height variable to get the viewable height in pixels of each section, including padding, border, and scroll bar. Now, let's see these values from the console log. Console log. Adding a text to identify the value. Plus. Then section top value. Then make a copy of it. Section height value. Plus. Section height. Now let's see these values from the browser console. Here you can see those values on page scroll down. Now I'm going to comment these console logs. Then I'm going to create another let. Section ID equals page section, get attribute. ID to get each section ID. These are the three variables I'm using to create this function to activate menu items on page scroll. Now, I'm going to write a if statement. Here, I'm going to add a condition for the if statement. Scroll y greater than scroll top. Here I'm going to write the code to be executed if the condition is true. Document query selector. I'm selecting in bottom menu, in menu item, select anchor tag. with its href attribute with equal symbol. Now, copy and paste. Now, open a square bracket after the anchor tag and add an asterisk after href attribute plus section ID plus close the square bracket dot class list dot add class name current else. For the else part, I'm going to copy and paste the same code and change add to remove to executed to remove the current class if the same condition is false. Let's see how this works. First, I'm going to expand all the menu items to make visible how the current class appears in each menu item on page scroll. Now, I'm going to scroll down. Here, you can see on the page scroll down it will add a current class for each section. And on scrolling back to the top, you can see it will remove the current class for each section. Now I'm gonna add another condition to the if statement using AND operator. Scroll Y less than or equal to section top plus section height. Now, let's see how it works with both conditions. Again, I'm going to expand all the menu items to make visible how the current class appears in each menu item on page scroll. Here you can see on page scroll down, it will remove the previous section's current class and add a current class to the section we are on. It is the same on scrolling back to the top. It will remove the previous one and add a current class to the current section. Now this function is complete. Let's move to the next one. Here we're going to create other main functions for the bottom navigation menu. These functions we're going to make for the menu hide button, menu show button, and other navigation menu behaviors on page scroll. Let's start. First, I'm going to create a variable, const bottom menu equals to document dot query selector. I'm going to copy the class name bottom menu and paste here. Then I'm going to create another variable, const menu hide btn equals to document dot query selector. I'm going to copy the class name menu hide btn and paste here. Then make another copy of it. Change its variable to menu show btn. I'm going to select the class name menu show btn and paste here. First, I'm going to focus on the menu hide button. It should remain hidden until the page scrolls down, and it should be visible when the page is scrolled. Again, it must also hide when the page scrolls back to the top. Now, let's do it. First, I'm going to move to the CSS file. Let's find the menu hide btn selector. Here, in the menu hide button selector, I'm going to add opacity to 0. Now, the menu hide button is hidden, but it can be clicked. Here you can see when the cursor is on the menu hide button position, the cursor shows the cursor pointer. For that, I'm going to set pointer events to none. Now there is no pointer events on the menu hide button. Now I'm going to copy the menu hide button selector, then paste here, and I'm going to add a class attribute named show opacity to 1, pointer events to all. Now let's move to the JS file. Here, I'm going to add an event listener on scroll window dot add event listener on scroll. Now, I'm going to add a if statement here. If window dot scroll y greater than 10, menu hide button dot class list dot add. Here I'm going to copy the show class attribute and paste here. Now, let's see how this works. Here you can see the menu hide button become visible on page scrolls down. Now, I'm going to make the menu hide button hide again on page scroll back to the top. For that, I'm going to make another copy of if statement. And here, I'm changing the greater than to less than. Here, I'm changing the add to remove. Now let's see. Here, the menu hide button appears on scroll down. Here you can see when the page scrolls back to the top, it hides again. Now, I want to make the bottom navigation menu hide on the page scroll down. For that, first I'm going to move to the CSS file. I'm going to copy the bottom menu selector and paste here. And I'm going to add a class attribute name hide with bottom menu selector and add bottom to -75px, opacity to 0, and here opacity to 1. Also, I'm going to add transition property, bottom, and opacity, transition to 0.5 seconds ease and 0.3 seconds ease. Then, copy it, paste here. Now let's move to the JS file. Here, bottom menu dot class list dot add hide class attribute. Now, let's see the results. Here you can see on page scroll down the bottom navigation menu move to the bottom of the screen and become hidden. Now I want to get the menu show button visible on the screen on page scroll down. For that, I'm going to move to the CSS file. Then, copy the menu show button selector, paste here, and I'm going to add a class attribute named show with menu show button selector and add bottom to 50px, opacity to 1. Here, opacity to 0. Transition property, bottom, and opacity, transition, 0.5 seconds ease, and 0.3 seconds ease. I'm going to copy it and paste here. Then let's go back to the JS file. Add menu show btn. Here, add menu show btn. Class list. Add. Add the class attribute show. Now let's see. Here you can see on scrolling down the bottom navigation menu goes down and the menu show button appears. Now, I want to make the bottom navigation menu appear back again on page scroll to the top. Let's work on it. Here, I'm going to copy bottom menu class list add hide and paste it here. Change add to remove. Now let's see. Here you can see the bottom navigation menu appears again on page scroll back to the top. And here you can see the menu show button visible with the bottom navigation menu. Because of that, I want to make the menu show button hide on page scroll back to the top. For that, I'm going to copy menu show btn class list add show. Paste here. And change add to remove. Now let's see. Let's scroll down. Here's the menu show button appears. Now let's scroll to the top. Here you can see on page scroll to the top the menu show button goes down and the bottom navigation menu appears again. Now I want to make the bottom navigation menu and menu show button hide and appear for a timeout on page scroll down. For that, first I'm going to create variable name menu timeout. Then I'm going to create a function named scroll stopped. Then cut these lines and paste here. Then clear timeout. Inside brackets, menu timeout. Then menu timeout equals set timeout. Function scroll stopped, comma, 2500 milliseconds. Now let's see how this works. Here you can see when I stop scrolling the page, after 2500 milliseconds, bottom navigation menu hides and the menu show button appears. And here, it also happens when the page scrolled to the top. So, I want to make the bottom navigation menu to stay visible on the page scrolled to the top. Now let's work on that. Now I'm going to copy these lines, paste here, and cut these lines. Paste here. Now, for this if condition, the scroll stop function works to remove these class attributes. Now, let's see. Here you can see, when stop scrolling the page, bottom navigation menu hides, and the menu show button appears on timeout. But again, when the page scrolls up or down, there is no shifting between bottom menu and the menu show button visibility. And when I scroll back to the top of the page, the bottom navigation menu appears again in 2500 milliseconds because of the timeout function. To correct these issues, first, let's comment this line to stop removing the show class attribute on the scroll stopped function timeout. And here I'm going to copy this line, paste here. Also copy this line, paste here. By adding these two lines, It will always remove hide and show class attributes from bottom menu and the menu show button on page scrolls up and down. Now let's see. Now you can see that the bottom menu and the menu show button behaviors work as expected. Here you can see that every time start scrolling the page, the menu show button goes down and the bottom navigation menu pops up on the screen. And here you can see, when the page scrolls to the top, the bottom navigation menu stays visible without hiding. Now this part is complete. Now I want to make the bottom navigation menu hide and menu show button appear by clicking the menu hide button and reverse that action by clicking the menu show button. For that, let's create click events for these buttons. First, for the menu hide button, menu hide btn. Add event listener. On click, bottom menu. Class list. Toggle. Hide class attribute. With this line, now we can add or remove the hide class attribute from the bottom navigation menu by clicking the menu hide button. Next, menu show btn. Class list. Add. Show class attribute. With this line, we can add the show class attribute to the menu show button by clicking the menu hide button. Now let's see how this works. Here you can see on click the menu hide button, the bottom navigation menu become hidden and the menu show button appears. Now let's move to the menu show button, click event. Menu show btn. Add event listener. On click. I'm going to copy these lines and paste here and change this add to remove. To remove the show class attribute on click menu show button. Now let's see how this works. Here you can see on click the menu show button, the bottom navigation menu appears again and menu show button becomes hidden. Here I have to add cursor to pointer on menu show button. Let's go to CSS file. In menu show button selector, add cursor to pointer. Now, here you can see the cursor shows as a pointer when it is on the menu show button. Our bottom navigation menu project is now complete. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and share this knowledge with others. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned with Coding Snow.